welcome to Anything is Possible. I'm Tamara, and I live at Lake Chapala in Jalisco, Mexico. It's been quite a while since I posted, and I thought maybe I should give you guys an update on what's going on with my life. Since I posted the last time with weather and the dust, all the smoke in the air, and just the things that aren't so nice about living here, things have cleared up quite a bit. The breezes come up in the afternoon now, and they really clear the air. I think maybe the farmers have stopped burning their fields. I'm not sure, but and there doesn't seem to be too many wildfires going on. There's one big one going on across the lake, which I think is still going on over by Mazamitla. But at this point, it seems that at least in this area, they're still very dusty, but day before yesterday, we actually got a pretty good little rain in the afternoon. So I think we may head into a early rainy season here, which is good news for the dust. On April 29th, I finally decided I better take my cat, Felix, into the vet. He had been kind of starting to pee on a few things around the place and seeming to just not feel very good. And so I took him to the vet, and sure enough, he had urinary tract infection, and they said his kidneys were in not good shape at all. But they thought, well, maybe the infection has gone up into his kidneys, so they gave me a really good antibiotic that's supposed to be targeted towards urinary tract infections, and he started on that. He was supposed to be on it for 2 weeks, and he started on that, and there seemed to be a little improvement in the way he was feeling, but not much. And I mentioned to the vet several times, every time I would take him in, he had to go in for subcutaneous fluids and super nutrition in the fluids. But I mentioned it that he was not seeming to perk up very much and still not feeling well. And so what's interesting with vet care here is they're really good at basic stuff. But a lot of stuff does end up having to be sent to Guadalajara, and there is a guy who comes once a week, makes the rounds to all the vets that need someone to have an ultrasound, and I had requested that he have an ultrasound just to find out if there was anything going on inside, just to see if there was something else we could do for him. They found out that he had an enlarged heart, or the kidneys in the ultrasound, they looked okay. But she took another blood sample and sent it off to Guadalajara because she wanted to find out more about if there was some sort of bacterial infection they hadn't identified. And he was feeling really low, I could tell. And that night I took him out on my front lawn, put a blanket down, and carried him out, and just curled up there under the stars with him for a little while, and talked quietly with him, and just held him for about a half hour. I could tell he was really not feeling well. And I took him back in, and at 3:30 in the morning, the next morning, my other cat, Gator, came and woke me up, scratched near the bed, and I thought I better get up and see what's going on with Felix, and he was dying. And I'm really sad. He has been with me for many years. I fostered him when he had been turned in. He had been mauled by a household dog, and he was less than a year old, probably just about a year old. And his right arm had been crushed so severely by the dog that they had to amputate, so they needed someplace for the cat to go, and it couldn't go back to that household. So I took him in and fostered him, and I just fell in love. He was such a sweet cat. So And we've been through, I guess, 6, maybe 7 moves together. And of course, he came down with me to Mexico with my cat Gator. And it was really pretty sudden. I mean, it was a month of not feeling well. When I took him in for the ultrasound, they weren't making it sound like it was the end of the road for him. But when they got the blood results back on Saturday, which was after he had passed, it turned out he had a blood infection, and which causes anemia, and it actually comes from a flea that's infected. And there's only a few fleas that are infected, and the odds that he would get a flea bite from an infected flea are really low. But apparently they are here in this area. Maybe they're all, I guess it's worldwide. It's just a very rare occurrence, and that's why it really hadn't dawned on them to bother looking for it. But it causes anemia. So the urinary tract infection, his kidney failing, his kidney still did not look good in terms of the blood count they did in the vat. The enlarged heart and it's like everything, like 4 things going on. It's no wonder he felt bad, but it was almost like inevitable. There too many things happening, and there was no way to second guess. They were pretty much treating him for the kidney problems and the urinary tract infection, which makes a whole lot of sense, but they didn't know about the enlarged heart. They didn't know about the blood infection. Which can be treated if you know about it, but we just didn't. So my poor boy passed away in my arms, and my other cat was pretty traumatized because he was right there through the whole thing. He saw him failing and came and got me, and then came back. My cat was lying on the bathroom floor, and he sat there with him till the end, and he's been kind of emotional and needy. But in the meantime, also, after I'd taken Felix in the first time, my little foster dog, Tomas, had been adopted up in California, and so he flew off, I think it was on the 8th of May. Oh, he's got a wonderful home now. It makes me so happy when I foster animals, and they have such a happy adoption. Anyway, in addition, I've been working really hard on my new house that I'm moving into. I had a painter come and paint the whole interior of the house, which took just about a week. I got a landscaping guy to come. I want to create like a jungle out in my backyard, and it was just this really hot, dry, vacant yard. It has some trees and some bougainvillea that got chopped down, but my dream is to take out all of that lawn and put a kind of a path, a loop path that goes out to the back wall and then back to the steps, and then have just all kinds of tropical plants back there. So the other thing I've been doing now, I had some guys come and start clearing the grass out of the backyard, and they did a really good job, but basically they kind of just chopped the top off. It's all what we call crabgrass, and it spreads by runners, and it is highly invasive, and it's going to be a real bear to get out of there, but they got, at least the lawn is gone, but there's still a lot of roots underground. So I just finally decided, there's a certain point where nobody else is going to be quite as invested in this project as you. And I thought, if I don't want to have to be battling crabgrass continuously, I better just do this digging out of the roots myself. So digging and chopping, and oh my gosh, I found out there was so many rocks. I mean, everything from large, grapefruit size round stones to little pebbles. So between having to chop out the rocks and chop out the pebbles and chop out the crabgrass roots, and the end product is beautiful soil. It is such good, rich soil here by the lake. I soak a little section at a time so that the ground is soft, and go over there, and I got myself a little pick, and I just picking away at the dirt, getting the stones and the grass out, and when I'm done, then I'll let my landscaping guy know again, and they're going to put the flagstone path in and kind of help me with the soil amendments and probably a little rototilling. But anyway, so that's the garden project. Today I went out shopping for some furniture. Now that the painting is done, I can finally get that underway. This is the place to shop in bazaars, let me tell you. It's just got all kinds of places that have consignment shops and used furniture, and all kinds of stores where you can buy secondhand good used furniture. You know, one thing you learn about Mexico is it's still very much a cash society. I expected this bazaar, being a fairly large store, to accept credit card, and so I had stopped by the bank, and I had some cash on me, but I didn't have enough to pay for all that. So I put a deposit on it, and they said when I come back and pay the rest, then they'll arrange for delivery of the furniture. And I was like, well, okay. So I said, well, I'll be back tomorrow. You can only take a certain amount out of your bank if you have a U.S. bank every day. And I have two different cards that I use, but they only allow me a certain amount every day. And it isn't the Mexican bank that really puts the limit on it. It's your financial institution. Anyway, so I have to go back tomorrow, and hopefully I can get enough to pay off the rest of this furniture and get it delivered. And then, the minute I walk in the door after doing that, I get a WhatsApp is the messenger service that everybody uses down here from my landlord at the new place, saying, when can I pass by and get the rent? And I was like, oh my gosh, he wants cash too. So luckily he's pretty easy, within a couple of days of his asking, he's fine with, it doesn't have to be the day he asks. So I thought, well, okay, I can get money tomorrow to pay for the furniture, and then I can go back to the bank again on Saturday and get the rent money. And so I said, noon on Saturday, come by and get the money. And I'm like, holy mackerel, I sure hope my cards let me have the money. I'm just so used to dealing with either just paying online, automatic bill pay. It's not that I don't have money in my accounts. It's that if you're getting money from ATMs and you have large expenses all of a sudden, it's like, you really have to accumulate cash and kind of hoard it at home. And I haven't been hoarding enough. Plus, I had to pay rent on this current residence this week. So, this was a lot of money going out this week. But it's something to keep in mind when you come down here that, you can't naturally assume that places are going to accept a credit card or a debit card or a check card or any of those things. Still, really, a lot of people want cash, and it makes them feel better about, I don't know, they don't trust banks, I think is basically it. And that's okay. I'm not sure I trust banks either. I thought I'd show you a little clip of the differences between my current neighborhood and the one I'm moving to. I currently live in Riberas del Pilar, and it's a very quiet area for the most part. A fair number of gringos live here. Moving is San Antonio Tlayacapan, and it is a bustling, small village, really. And I was there last evening hacking away at weeds in the backyard, and went out to get in my car, and there was just people walking up and down the street. The sky was beautiful with the sun had just gone down, and people set up little stands and tables outside their houses, food, and people can stop by and pay a little bit and get a taco or something to eat and visit with the neighbors. And it's a whole different feel here than in Riberas, and there isn't anything wrong with either one, but I'm looking forward to being more a part of, a community where neighbors really get together and walk up and down. And, I walked Wookiee one night in the neighborhood, and everybody's so friendly. I know before I moved, there was the big question of the climate is changing worldwide, and I wanted to know, is this really going to be an improvement, or am I going to end up with the lake drying up and it being worse off than if I had just tried to stay in the Pacific Northwest where I've been? And so I will be talking about that in an upcoming video real soon. So anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you coming back. I will see you next time, and take care. Bye.